The pregnant widow moved into the lighthouse, and the light refused to die. This is a true story, and every chilling detail I'm about to share happened exactly as I recount it in the coastal town of Windy Cove, Maine, during the spring of 2015. Before I continue this true supernatural account, subscribe to hear the full story that forever changed my understanding of life and death. The light beam danced erratically across stormy skies, yet the source remained hidden, overshadowed by the oppressive whispers that echoed through the hollow corridors, calling my name while the wind howled with bone-chilling intensity. As I took my first hesitant steps into the lighthouse, a shiver traced my spine. It felt as if the very walls breathed around me, pulsating with a certain energy I could not comprehend. I could feel the air grow heavy, a sudden chill wrapping around me as if the spirits of the sea were encircling me, accompanied by the scent of salt and something sweet, like honeysuckle blooming out of season, my favorite flower long gone. Just the thought of it stirred longing and sadness within me. Whenever I ventured closer to the lens of the lighthouse, a metallic taste would flood my mouth, a warning of impending doom, as I realized the spectral figures flickering in my periphery were not mere tricks of the light. They glided through the shadows, their presence tangible yet elusive, with faces both familiar and alien, whispering secrets from the depths of time. Alone and 8 months pregnant after losing my husband to a fishing accident, the lighthouse became our sanctuary. However, I soon discovered it served a darker purpose. As I stood on the precipice of fear and vulnerability, deep bruises began to form on my arms where unseen hands pressed against me, as if the lighthouse sought to claim me and my unborn child, a new soul for the restless spirits trapped within the beams. It was an unsettling thought, one that made my heart race. I clutched my belly tighter, feeling the life within me shift in response to my unease. Before I divulge what happened next, know that our very survival hung in the balance, intertwined with shadowy forces that threatened everything I held dear. In those early days, I found myself trying to rationalize the inexplicable events surrounding me. The lighthouse was a beautiful structure, picturesque and proud against the backdrop of relentless waves, yet something about it felt profoundly wrong. The walls felt alive, shifting under my gaze as I caught glimpses of figures dressed in old-fashioned nautical garb peering through the windows. I brushed off these chilling encounters as stress and fatigue, my body weary from the weight of my grief and worry. But one evening, while the wind howled like a mournful spirit outside, I felt an unmistakable force pushing me towards the lighthouse lens, as if urging me to confront what lay hidden within its depths. The moment was suffocating. The horrific realization that something far more sinister was afoot sent a jolt of dread through me. The cries of lost sailors echoed in my mind, reminding me of the tales my late husband had shared about the lighthouse, a beacon of hope for seafarers, but a prison for souls who never made it home. His words haunted me, weaving through my thoughts as I rocked back and forth, cradling my belly. I remembered my grandmother's stories of spirits reaching out across the veil, hoping to connect with those still living. It was true. I felt their presence so close that I could almost hear their whispers, muffled yet urgent, wrapping around me like a shroud of grief. Desperate for answers, I ventured towards the lens again, my heart pounding in my chest, and shouted out, "What do you want from me?" The lighthouse responded. Powerful beams flashed through the tempest, illuminating something that felt like a convergence of energies, haunting yet compelling. "We need you," echoed a voice layered within the wind, reverberating deep within my core. The realization struck like thunder. The spirits didn't just seek connection, they were reaching out for help. With each passing day, the encounters became increasingly intense. Shadows cast by the lantern shifted, transforming the ordinary into something twisted and beautiful, while the air filled with the smell of brine and sorrow. One night, while searching for the source of the disturbance, I stumbled upon a hidden alcove, revealing remnants of the lighthouse's troubled past. A tattered journal slipped free from a dusty box, detailing shipwrecks, a list of names washed away by time and tide. As I read about the countless lives lost to the sea, a sense of purpose surged within me, intertwining with the life growing inside me, a duty to honor those who had been silenced. But little did I know, this journey was only beginning, and the lighthouse held more secrets than I was prepared for. As the days dragged on, the chill of the lighthouse seeped deeper into my bones. I could no longer differentiate between the whispers of the wind and the voices that called to me from the depths of the past. Every time I approached the lens, an electric tension buzzed in the air, thickening like fog around me, almost alive in its expectancy. It was as if the lighthouse, a towering silhouette against the roiling gray sky, had its own breath, inhaling my fear and exhaling secrets long shrouded in darkness. On a stormy night, as the winds tossed angrily against the structure, I was jolted awake by a cold gust that whipped through the open window, rattling the shutters violently. My heart raced wildly, echoing the tempest outside. A sound, a low, mournful wail, cut through the din of the storm, piercing my foggy mind and urging me into action. The melody was haunting, a dirge for lost souls reaching out from the depths of the ocean, searching for solace. I felt the pull of those voices, desperate and urgent, guiding me closer to the lens once more. It had become a nightly ritual. I would climb the winding staircase to the top of the lighthouse, each creak of the wood beneath my feet resonating through my body as if the entire structure was alive and aware. I could feel the weight of the spirits pressing in, their stories begging to be told, to be acknowledged before they faded into obscurity. That night was no different. The shadows coalesced into recognizable shapes, flickering at the edges of my vision, drawing me into their world. As I gazed into the lens, the light refracted, casting ghostly silhouettes that danced across the walls. I felt a shiver run down my spine, but I pressed on, determined to confront what lay in wait. "Who are you? What do you want?" I shouted into the dark. The winds whipped around me, swirling with energy, and suddenly the air grew colder, almost bitter. The response came, layered and distorted, grasping at my senses. "We seek recognition. We are lost." The words hung in the air, heavy with grief. I had heard my husband speak of the lost sailors, their names forever etched into the fabric of history but forgotten by time. Now, they were reaching out to me, intertwining their fate with my own, and I realized with horrifying clarity that whatever haunted this lighthouse was more than just a spectral presence. It was a plea for salvation. In a moment of clarity, the memories of my grandmother, her voice filled with wisdom and comfort, rushed back to me. She had taught me about binding rituals, how to welcome spirits who sought peace, how to protect my loved ones without turning a blind eye. My heart raced as the weight of understanding enveloped me. If the spirits sought recognition, perhaps I could bridge the gap between their world and mine. "I'll help you," I whispered, more to myself than anyone else. "I will not let you be forgotten." But the gravity of that promise was tangible, like a stone lodged in my throat. Almost immediately, an overwhelming force enveloped me. I staggered backward, feeling bruises blooming on my arms like dark flowers, impressions forming where the invisible hands gripped me tighter than before. Panic surged within me, a primal instinct urging me to flee from the agony that radiated through my being. I was teetering on the precipice of two worlds, caught in a battle for my very existence, and the stakes had never felt higher. "Get away from me!" I screamed, wrestling against the invisible weight that sought to pull me deeper into the void. The shadows danced menacingly, shifting and twisting, as if conspiring against my resolve. Yet, even in my fear, I felt a strange kinship with the spirits, a shared pain that tied me to their plight. It was not mere malevolence that gripped me, but desperation. I was reminded of my own loss, the grief that threatened to consume me because of the void my husband left behind. Was my suffering the key to their salvation? I glanced at the tattered journal from the alcove, gripping it tightly. Perhaps within its pages lay the answers that could set us all free, a way to honor their lost souls. By telling their stories, maybe I could help them find peace. I opened it again, scanning through the delicate fraying pages, my fingers grazing across the ink stains, and the names of sailors washed away by the tides of time slowly emerged. Each name was a reminder of a life cut short, an echo of those who once walked the earth. As I read, my heart began to drum a new rhythm, one of determination and purpose. The pain of the past could usher in a hopeful future if only I had the courage to face my fears head-on. With every push of resolve, the moon broke through the clouds, casting a silver glow upon the lighthouse and illuminating a world that teetered between realms. That night, it felt as though the spirits wrapped me in their embrace, guiding me towards a deeper understanding of my place in this haunting narrative. The lighthouse was not merely a vessel of despair. It could be a beacon of hope, not just for those lost, but for myself as well. In that moment, I vowed to champion their stories and honor their memories, ensuring they would not fade into the dark like whispers on the wind. I would stand, undaunted, at the heart of the storm, embodying the very essence of the light they craved, a light that could illuminate the path to healing for both the living and the lost. The aftermath of that stormy night settled in my bones, igniting a fire within me that defied the chilling whispers of despair. As dawn broke, I felt invigorated, buoyed by the understanding that while the lighthouse held untold sorrow, it also brimmed with hope waiting to be awakened. The wind whistled a different tune now, a melody that felt less mournful and more like an encouragement to act, to speak, and to remember. I pulled myself upright, determination coursing through my veins as I descended the spiral staircase, ready to do what needed to be done. Each visit ascended into a ritual of remembrance. With the journal clutched in my hands, I ventured up to the lens every evening, determined to read and to honor the lives that had been extinguished. The flickering light intertwined with my voice as I recited the names and stories I discovered within the aged pages, tales of bravery, confusion, and heartache that seemed to hang heavy in the damp air. I would pour my heart into each recounting, feeling the spirits respond. Sometimes a gentle draft would brush against my cheek, a soft caress that whispered in agreement, while the light pulsated rhythmically with my words as if it were nodding along. Word by word, an ethereal energy began to swirl around me, a palpable gathering of collective grief shifting into something more potent: connection. I could feel the spirits of the lighthouse drifting in and out of the corners of my vision, each flicker and shadow anchoring itself to the very essence of my being. I was no longer alone. I was part of a dialogue that transcended time and life itself. As the days turned into weeks, the bruises on my arms faded into mere memories, reminders of the grip the lighthouse once held over me, now replaced by the strength of purpose. But even amidst my progress, I felt a sense of foreboding lingering just beneath the surface. Of course, the past was far from forgotten. A heavy curtain lingered, draping over the true nature of those lost souls, a web of secrets tugging at my heart. Then came one fateful night. A fierce storm raged outside, the waves crashing against the shoreline as if demanding entry, clashing with the lighthouse in a cacophony of sound that echoed into the cavernous lighthouse. I felt the hairs on my arms stand on end, my senses heightened, a warning that something crucial was about to unfold. I stood at the top of the sweeping staircase, overlooking the tumultuous seas, when I saw them, figures swirling in the lantern's light. It was as if the pain of the past had coalesced into dark silhouettes that begged for release. Heart pounding, knowing that I could either shy away or finally confront the truth, I summoned my courage. "Show me," I cried, my voice a trembling whisper turned to a desperate plea against the howling wind. As if my words had summoned their intention, the lantern glowed brighter than I had ever seen, blinding me momentarily. When the glare subsided, I beheld a vision so profound that it rendered me breathless. The once murky shapes transformed into ethereal figures, sailors clad in tattered clothing, their faces grief-stricken yet softened by newfound clarity. They shifted and shone luminously, yearning to speak. "You've breathed life into our forgotten tales," one voice flared, resonating deep within my chest, and I recognized the sorrow in their eyes. We were lost long before our bodies sank. A knot of fear coiled tightly as I met their gaze. Each spirit was a reminder of the life and love that had been drowned, their desperation palpable. "I will remember," I promised, tears spilling down my cheeks as emotion overwhelmed me. "You aren't lost. I'm here." In the midst of the storm, the spirits of the lighthouse began to share their stories with me, a narrative thrumming with raw emotion, the kind that could not be silenced. They spoke of shipwrecks, storms that had raged infinitely, and projections of their hopes that had ultimately sunk beneath the waves. Each shared tale unfurled like a chilling gust of wind, knitting our destinies together as I felt their pain intertwining with mine. Driven by an unfathomable connection, I returned to the journal that had sparked this spark of life. I scribbled their stories down, capturing their grief and dreams in ink while the storm raged outside. The more I wrote, the stronger the voices grew, transforming from spectral echoes into powerful harmonies laced with profound urgency. I was not merely writing, I was channeling their sorrows and joys, forging a bridge between lives lived and memories buried. Then I caught the faintest glimmer of acknowledgement in their luminous forms as they swirled around me. I could feel their gratitude flow like a gentle stream, washing over the tumult within me. "Thank you," they whispered in unison, their essence intertwining with mine. Suddenly, the storm outside began to subside, the winds easing their tumult at the sight of our unbreakable bond. I realized then that the lighthouse was no longer a haunting, but a sanctuary, a place not only of remembrance, but of healing. Through recognizing their pain and courage, I had not only helped them find peace, but had laid down my own brokenness in return. As dawn broke once again over Windy Cove, the lighthouse stood tall, its beacon of light shining defiantly against the encroaching fog, a symbol of hope and resilience for all who approached. I knew my journey was far from over, but the spirits had sparked a newfound tenacity within me. No longer simply its caretaker, I was its voice, a guardian of forgotten stories intertwined with the light, ensuring they would never fade into the shadows again. With dawn breaking over Windy Cove, the lighthouse stood as a symbol of both sorrow and hope, its light cutting through the early morning mist. I felt a powerful sense of purpose swelling within me, a calling to share the stories of the spirits I had encountered. They were no longer merely memories or fleeting whispers. They had become part of my own narrative, woven tightly with my grief and resilience. It was time to act. Determined to honor their tales, I reached out to the local community, organizing a gathering at the town library. I envisioned this event as a bridge between the past and the present, a means to reconnect the living with those who had once sailed the treacherous waters, their dreams crushed beneath the stormy waves. The thought filled me with a mixture of excitement and anxiety. Would they embrace these stories or view them as mere folklore? On the night of the gathering, the library buzzed with anticipation. As I stood at the front of the room, faces turned towards me, ranging from skepticism to genuine curiosity. "Thank you for coming," I began, feeling the energy of the lighthouse behind me, fueling my resolve. "Tonight, we honor those who have been lost to the sea, those whose stories have waited far too long to be told." As I recounted the sailors' tales from the journal, something incredible happened. The shadows of the lighthouse flickered around me, harmonizing with my voice in a way that felt both grounding and liberating. I spoke of shipwrecks, love lost, and dreams drowned, and I could see the audience hanging on to each word. Their faces reflected the emotions in the room as connections began to unfold. They too held stories of sailors and their families, tales long tucked away in the recesses of memory. When I finished sharing, the room erupted with discussions. Townsfolk began recounting their own stories. Each contributed to the rich tapestry of our shared history, and I felt the weight of the lighthouse ease a little further. We were creating a community of remembrance, a place where the past could merge with the present, and I was no longer alone in my mission. Weeks slid by, and our efforts culminated into a town-wide memorial celebrating the legacy of those lost at sea. We planned a gathering at the base of the lighthouse, a night dedicated to honoring the spirits entwined with our community's heritage. The excitement in the air was palpable as we prepared to embrace our collective past. On the night of the memorial, the lighthouse bathed everything in a warm golden light. Families gathered, friends held hands, and stories flowed like the waves crashing at our feet. As I took my place behind a small podium, nerves fluttered within me. I looked around at the sea of faces illuminated by flickering firelight, each one ready to welcome the stories of their ancestors. I stand here tonight not just as a simple keeper of their stories, but as a voice for the lost, I declared, my voice gaining strength with each word. Together, we weave a tapestry of connection that transcends time, ensuring those who have perished will never be forgotten. As I spoke, the wind picked up, swirling around us like an ethereal embrace. I felt the warmth of the spirits surrounding the crowd, pushing us forward as I recounted tales of bravery, love, and loss. The more I shared, the more the audience leaned in, a living connection forming between the old spirits and those gathered. Suddenly, a vibrant gust swept through the gathering, firelight flickering wildly as if urging us to release our grief. I noticed a brilliant light emanating from the lighthouse lens, bright and welcoming as it painted the night sky. As if the spirits were confirming my words, their ethereal presence revealed itself in the warmth of the moment. "Thank you," I whispered, as a wave of emotion surged through me. I knew that my voice had become a conduit for their stories, that together we were creating a space where the past could finally find peace. As laughter and tears intermingled beneath the stars, I stood surrounded by a community that felt more like family. We had created a haven for memory, a lighthouse not only of light, but of healing. The stories would continue to flow, intertwining with our lives and lives yet to come, resonating through the ages. At that moment, I understood my role clearly. I was not just a guardian of the lighthouse. I was a keeper of the stories, championing the lives lost to the sea and ensuring their legacies lived on. An unbreakable thread woven through time as the light continued to shine brightly, guiding both the living and the lost. As the evening wore on beneath the glittering night sky, our gathering began to feel like a celebration, a communion of souls united by shared history and hope. The air was thick with reverberations of laughter and the occasional tear, as each story lifted like a lantern, illuminating the darker corners of our past. It felt as if the very essence of the lighthouse was breathing with us, responding to the echoes of every heart intertwined with the narratives we cherished. I stepped down from the podium, my heart swelling with gratitude as townsfolk approached to share their own stories. Every recollection added another thread to the fabric we were weaving. An elderly man recounted tales passed down from his grandfather, a fisherman who had braved treacherous waters, his voice cracking with the weight of memories but shining brightly with pride. A young girl shared her dream of becoming a marine biologist, inspired by stories of her great-aunt, who had once sailed the same seas. Emboldened by their stories, I found my own voice growing clearer. As I exchanged smiles and warm embraces, I could feel the lighthouse's spirit swelling, a nostalgic sigh from the past, acknowledging our unity. Our gathering was crafting a legacy, a promise to honor the forgotten and to share their journeys with future generations. Yet deep within me, a quiet whisper insisted that our connection with the past was only the beginning. I sensed that the spirits were urging me to delve deeper, to explore the stories that lay hidden beneath layers of silence. I decided to dedicate myself to uncovering the rest of their tales. What more had they endured? What secrets still awaited discovery? The following days became a whirlwind of research. I delved into the town's archives, historical accounts, and maritime records. Each piece of information unearthed filled the gaps, illuminating fragments of lives once thought lost. The haunting tales of shipwrecks and vanished sailors painted a vivid picture, a forgotten struggle between man and sea that now demanded to be rediscovered. However, between these tales, a recurring theme emerged. Tragedy was often met with heroism and resilience. The spirits of those who had suffered seemed determined to reveal the beauty in their struggles. As I started to piece together the complete tapestry, I felt them surrounding me, guiding my research in ways I had never anticipated. My nights were often filled with the sounds of the lighthouse, the creaking wood, the soft whispers, and sometimes even the distant sound of waves crashing against the rocks. One fateful evening, I encountered the dark remnants of a shipwreck, the Marigold. Its tale had become a local legend, lost among the fabric of time. Researched accounts painted a ghastly picture. The vessel met its demise during a fierce storm, dragging a crew of hopeful sailors into the sea's unforgiving depths. This one account struck a resonant chord. I would seek to honor these lost souls. During this time, the spirits began to communicate more clearly, offering cryptic messages through the shadows and the whisper of the wind. At times, I could swear I heard them guiding me. Below, remember, honor. Each ethereal utterance urged me closer to the remnants of the Marigold, and I felt the weight of responsibility settle heavily upon my shoulders. I was more than a messenger. I was becoming their champion. In preparation for my next public gathering, I decided it was time to reveal the shipwreck's tragic story. I invited people to join me on the windswept cliffs overlooking the site, a romantic yet hauntingly beautiful location known for its stunning vistas. This time, I wanted to take action, to communicate our alliance with the past visually. When the day of the gathering arrived, spectators stood against the horizon, the sun setting behind them, cloaked in golden light. I felt the spirits thrumming beneath our feet, a collective heartbeat urging us to remember. Drawing a deep breath, I shared the gripping tale of the Marigold, weaving the narrative of hope and loss into every word. As I concluded the story, I asked the townsfolk to join me in an act of remembrance. Together, we released biodegradable lanterns into the evening sky, each one representing a lost sailor. They floated gracefully into the atmosphere, illuminating the sky with soft glows, signaling our collective promise to never forget and forever honor those who had ventured into the unknown on our behalf. Tears glistened on some cheeks, a testament to the power of their stories unfolding. Life breathed into what once lay in silent obscurity. In that radiant moment, I realized that the lighthouse was not just a monument of light. It had become a vessel of healing, its light not only guiding sailors home, but also bridging the sacred chasm between lives lived and lost. As the lanterns shimmered against the stars, I felt the spirits surrounding us, their presence unmistakable. It dawned upon me that I was merely a vessel, sharing their stories and honoring their legacy, gifted with the ability to channel their essence into the hearts of the living. In that moment, I understood the profound truth. We would always be tied to those who came before us, their journeys living within us, as vibrant threads whispering of hope, resilience, and love. The light of the lighthouse shone brighter than ever, illuminating the way for future generations. We were no longer lost. We had become a community bound by shared memories and light, a living tribute to those who would forever navigate the seas of time through our lives. The lanterns glowed softly against the night sky, each one like a star set free, illuminating our gathering in a tender embrace of remembrance. People mingled, sharing whispers of old stories, the air thick with emotion as we honored the legacy of our lost sailors. I could almost hear their voices, urging us to keep their memories alive, the spirits swirling lovingly among us. The next days unfolded like pages of a captivating book. In the wake of our gathering, I dove deeper into the past, determined to piece together the story of the Marigold and its crew. Inspired by the connection we had forged, I began speaking with the town's oldest residents, those who had woven their own tales with threads of history. With each recollection, a vibrant tapestry of forgotten moments bloomed, revealing the faces and dreams of those lost to time. Among the cherished stories, I discovered a name that resonated deeply: Jonathan Harker, the captain of the Marigold. His image, a young man with bright eyes and an adventurous spirit, painted him as someone who dared to chase storms at sea. I felt a connection, an understanding that reached beyond words, as if he were urging me to uncover every detail of his life. Late nights passed as I buried myself in faded records and weather-worn newspapers, piecing together Jonathan's journey. His dreams of crossing the Atlantic had ended in tragedy, a fate that echoed through generations. I felt it was my mission to honor not just the ship, but every soul lost alongside her, to breathe life back into their stories. Motivated, I planned another gathering, a chance to tell Jonathan's story as a tribute to those who sailed with him. The night approached, cloaked in swirling mists that enveloped the town. I felt the spirits whispering in my ears, their words weaving through the silence as if guiding my hand. Crowds began to gather at the cliffs overlooking the sea. As I stood before them, the lighthouse loomed behind me, casting its steadfast beam across the waves. "Tonight we share not just the fate of the Marigold," I started, my heart echoing with purpose, but the courage and dreams of the souls aboard. Each word resonated, stirring memories that lingered just beneath the surface. When I spoke of Jonathan, his youthful hope and determination came alive, and I felt the audience connecting with his spirit. Together, we envisioned their journeys, the laughter shared, the hearts longing for those left behind. Emboldened, I invited everyone to participate in a symbolic act of remembrance. We would create a large tapestry, a collective representation of the lives affected by the sea, weaving together stories, dreams, and family heirlooms. As hands joined in the undertaking, the atmosphere shifted. The tension of remembrance morphed into a chorus of shared dedication. The weeks that followed were filled with gatherings in my small living room, an assembly of risk-takers and storytellers who came together to bring our vision to life. Each participant contributed personal items, pieces of lace, old photographs, mementos from lives intertwined with the sea. We stitched in quiet reverence, connecting each thread to a shared history that transcended time and space. Through laughter and tears, stories poured out freely, each whisper binding us tighter. The night of the tapestry unveiling arrived. Surrounded by family and friends, anticipation crackled in the air. When we revealed it, the fabric unfurled like a blossoming flower, a living masterpiece, awash with colors representing every soul touched by the waves. A myriad of emotions washed over us, flowing like the tides as we saw the story we had crafted together unfold before our eyes. As I stood in the glow of the lighthouse, I felt the spirits of those who had passed mix with our living presence. They were honored and alive, their stories deeply woven into our own. I realized then that preserving their legacy meant giving them wings rather than allowing their memories to fade. In that moment, the purpose of the lighthouse became clear to me again. It was not simply a guide for sailors lost in the dark. It was a guardian for all stories, illuminating the paths we walk. It held the spirits of those who weathered storms, reminding us that we, too, could navigate the turbulence of our lives with resilience and love. Together, we sang songs honoring the sea and our lost loved ones, our voices lifting into the night mingling with the winds. I felt the winds carry our promises across the waters, assurances that we would remember, that we would share their stories, and that they would never drift into obscurity again. As I took a step back and looked at the tapestry, interwoven with the rich stories of our collective existence, I felt a warmth envelop me. This was not just my journey alone. It was a testament to our community's heart, connected through love and respect. In that illuminated moment, eternal bonds solidified. We became a family, choosing to cherish the light and dark, the joy and sorrow of our past. The lighthouse stood tall behind us, a bright beacon promising that the ties binding us would forever illuminate the way toward the future. As I raised my gaze to the horizon, the stars shimmered above like the lanterns we had sent soaring into the night. Their glow felt like a reminder. We are never alone in our journey. Each spirit connects us, keeping the light alive, forging a path onward through a living tribute to those lost yet cherished. As the evening unfolded and the laughter from our gathering echoed in the air, a palpable connection enveloped us all. The lighthouse cast its steadfast glow, reminding us of the spirits lingering near, linking us to the stories woven throughout history. Yet, beneath the surface of our shared memories, I felt a yearning, a desire to delve deeper into the legacies of those who had come before us, as if the spirits were urging me to bring their voices to the forefront once more. Inspired by this calling, I organized a series of storytelling workshops, inviting the community to share their tales about the ocean, their loved ones, and the adventures that shaped their lives. The aim was not merely to preserve history, but to foster connections between generations, a place where the echoes of the past could resonate with future storytellers. The day arrived, and the turnout exceeded my hopes. Families filled the room, eager to share whispered tales and unearth memories that had long lingered in the shadows. As I welcomed them, I invited each of them to open their hearts, to bring forth those stories that had gathered dust, waiting for the right moment to be shared. With notebooks in hand, we embarked on a journey of discovery that transcended ages. The stories flowed, a mix of laughter and tears, as lives unfolded before us. A grandmother shared how her husband had once rescued a sinking vessel in a storm. A boy recounted a dream of sailing across vast waters that revived the spirit of his late grandfather. Each story intertwined with the next, like the currents of the sea, revealing a tapestry of joy, grief, and resilience. Yet, amidst the crowd, I noticed a young girl sitting quietly with a worn photograph clasped in her hand. Her deep blue eyes were glistening with unshed tears, and as she approached me, she barely whispered, "My dad went out to sea, but I don't know his story." My heart ached for her. I recognized the longing behind her words. Kneeling before her, I assured her that together we would unearth her father's legacy and weave it into our shared history. Inspired, I decided to initiate a community project, Waves of Memory, a night dedicated to honoring the souls lost at sea and celebrating their lives. This would be our opportunity not just to remember, but to preserve their stories, ensuring they echoed beyond the cliffs and into the hearts of those who came after. Months passed as we prepared for the monumental evening. The town rallied around the idea, crafting individual offerings, letters, photographs, handmade items, and tokens that had meaning to families. The spirit of collaboration filled the air, and as we gathered those final weeks leading up to the event, I felt the weight of anticipation intermixed with hope. Finally, the night of Waves of Memory arrived, and an undeniable energy coursed through the crowd. Lanterns flickered against the deepening twilight as families descended upon the water's edge. I stood before them, heart racing, ready to lead an evening that promised healing, connection, and remembrance. Behind me, the lighthouse stood tall, authoritative and welcoming, ready to guide us through the unfolding emotions. As twilight surrendered to night, we took a moment for collective reflection. With the ocean lapping gently against the shore, I invited those present to share heartfelt memories and stories of their loved ones. The warmth of community embraced us like a well-worn blanket, each voice merging with the salty breeze. As families stepped forward, my heart swelled with pride as tales emerged, tales of courage, of love lost, and of dreams fulfilled. We listened in reverence, absorbed in the ebb and flow of memories shared, forging connections that transcended the moment. Each narrative was like a grain of sand, contributing texture to our collective understanding. When it came time to cast our honored memories into the waves, I felt the weight of anticipation settle over us like a cloak. One by one, we shared our offerings, letters written from the heart, tokens of affection, photographs, each item a testament to the love that had traversed both land and sea. Then, with a silent agreement, we carefully released our memories into the surf, watching as they danced upon the waves and then disappeared into the eternal depths. The lanterns flickered brightly against the night sky, illuminating the moment when stories joined the currents of time, flowing toward the horizon. Standing amidst the outpouring of emotion, I felt reconnective energy surge through me. The lighthouse shone brightly above us, not only as a guardian of the sea, but as a beacon guiding our way forward. We had crafted a living tribute, transforming our loss into a collective strength, one that would guide future generations. Looking over the assembled faces, I realized that we were bound together by more than just shared grief. We formed a vibrant tapestry woven from countless stories, celebrated by both the living and those lost at sea. As the ceremony concluded, I looked up at the lighthouse, its beam cutting through the darkness, and I understood its purpose anew. The stories we shared were not burdens to bear, but rather wings that lifted us toward healing. Together, we had turned pain into a shared journey, carving a path of light for others to follow. And as I stood there, amidst the mingling voices of those around me, I felt the spirits of the departed drawing close, a quiet acknowledgement of what we had forged together. The light shone brighter than ever, the promise of remembrance echoing in our hearts, guiding us into a future where their legacies would continue to inspire and uplift. Through our stories, we had become guardians of their memories, transforming loss into a narrative filled with love, resilience, and hope. As the last lantern flickered and danced upon the waves, a profound stillness enveloped us. The night air was rich with unspoken thoughts, as if the ocean itself held our hopes and memories in its gentle embrace. I stood grounded amidst the whispers of the past, feeling the weight of the moment settle over me like a comforting shroud. The community remained clustered together, their expressions reflecting a shared understanding that transcended words. Each of us was a vessel, carrying forward the stories that had been entrusted to us. I realized then that we were not just memorializing the souls who had ventured to sea. We were carrying the torch of their legacy, illuminating the hearts of generations yet to come. As the soft glow of the lighthouse enveloped us, something shifted in the atmosphere. I felt the spirits, no longer distant echoes, but immediate presences surrounding us, their energy integrated into our gathering. I took a deep breath, sensing a shift, a recognition that their stories had not just lingered in the shadows. They had taken root, blossoming among us, transforming grief into something far more powerful, a community strengthened by love and loss. I want to share something with all of you, I said, my voice steady despite the emotions surging within me. Tonight, we have honored our past, but I see before me something greater, a community, united not only by the stories of those we've lost, but by the strength found in remembering. I glanced around, seeing heads nodding in agreement, hearts beating in unison with mine. We have given our loved ones wings, but it's crucial we continue to carry their light within us. It's time to create our own stories to ensure the legacy of love, courage, and resilience grows stronger with each passing day. The murmur of agreement among the crowd grew louder, with many understanding the call to action woven into my words. This was not the end. It was merely a new beginning, a chance to forge ahead while keeping their memories alive. With renewed energy, I proposed an idea that had been brewing within my heart. Let us start a community project, Stories of the Sea, a collection of narratives that will honor not only the lives lost, but celebrate how they inspire us today. We can gather stories from sailors, families, and lovers of the ocean, weaving them into a tapestry of resilience that reflects our shared journey. Excitement rippled through the crowd, sparking discussions and enthusiasm as others began to share their own visions. The notion that their stories could be published, shared through the community, and preserved became a collective dream that gleamed brightly against the midnight sky. As the first stars twinkled overhead, a young boy stepped forward, his eyes bright with curiosity. "Can we include drawings? I want to illustrate the tales of the sea." His innocence and passion ignited an even greater fire in our hearts. Soon, we found others eager to contribute art, poems, and traditions, each adding another layer of depth to the project. The night stretched on, filled with laughter and collaborative energy as ideas flourished. We mapped out our plans, forming committees to gather stories and create an anthology that would soon unite past, present, and future. As I returned home, the cool breeze caressed my skin, and the salty air wrapped around me like an old friend. The lighthouse stood tall in the distance, its light guiding me home, a reminder of our collective commitment to keep the memories alive. It wasn't just a fixture on the coast, it symbolized the strength of our community and the unwavering bond that had formed amidst our shared vulnerability. I felt the spirits of those we had honored linger close, their voices now mingling with ours. They had reminded us of the importance of storytelling, of maintaining the light even in the face of darkness. That night marked a shift in our community, a realization that loss could be transformed into love, that memories could transcend tragedy, and that as long as we stood together, the stories of our loved ones would never be forgotten. With every word shared, every tale told, we were solidifying a legacy, ensuring that the light of our loved ones continued to shine brightly, forever guiding us through the tempests of life. No longer were we just carriers of stories, we were the authors of our shared fate, united not just by sorrow, but by hope, love, and the indomitable spirit of the sea. In the weeks following our gathering by the lighthouse, a shared sense of purpose blossomed within our community. Excitement permeated the air as we dove into our project, Stories of the Sea. Committees sprouted up, each team eager to contribute their unique perspectives and talents. The community center transformed into a hive of creativity, filled with the scent of coffee and the sounds of enthusiastic discussions. Every Sunday, we convened to share stories that connected us to the sea and to one another. Each narrative added richness to the tapestry of our lives. On one memorable day, an elderly gentleman named Thomas recounted how he'd set out to sea on his father's fishing boat as a young man, where he first experienced both the beauty and fury of the ocean. "The sea isn't just water," he noted, his eyes shining with memories. "It's alive. It gives, it takes, and it teaches us to respect its power." As stories flowed, a young boy named Leo stood out with his boundless imagination. "Can we include drawings? I want to illustrate the tales we tell." His enthusiasm sparked a wave of creativity, encouraging others to contribute their own artistic visions. Soon, colorful sketches and poems flooded in, each one a testament to our shared experience. Our sessions blossomed into collaborative events. We held storytelling outings by the shore, where laughter and excitement intermingled with the sound of waves. Children sketched their interpretations of our stories on the sand, capturing the awe they felt in simple but beautiful strokes. The camaraderie we shared felt almost tangible. It was a celebration of life and connection. As twilight descended on one particular evening, we lit a bonfire, gathering around its warmth. The flames flickered to life, illuminating faces flushed with excitement. With every story shared, laughter echoed like a sweet melody against the backdrop of the sea. A woman named Clara recounted her late husband's bravery during a storm, recalling how he saved lives on that treacherous night. Her story reminded us all of the resilience inherent in love, even through tragedy. With each passing week, the anthology materialized into something profound, a collection not just of hardships, but of enduring hope. Each memory preserved served as a ripple in the ocean of our experience, binding us with threads of shared humanity. I felt a sense of duty as the keeper of these stories, knowing we were crafting a legacy of love and resilience to pass down through generations. With the book's release approaching, we faced the challenge of producing something truly special. The night of the anthology launch filled me with anticipation. Under a canopy of stars, the community center glimmered with fairy lights, fitting for a celebration of our combined triumphs and struggles. Every familiar face arrived, each filled with excitement and pride. As I stood at the podium, looking into the vibrant crowd, I felt gratitude swell within me. Each attendee wasn't just there for a book. They were there for the shared spirit of our town, to honor the tales woven through our lives. As we read excerpts from Stories of the Sea, tearful laughter and applause washed over us. The stories of our loved ones transformed from mere memories into living testaments of courage and the enduring human spirit. As the evening unfolded and more stories were shared, I felt the warmth of their spirits surrounding us, a gentle reminder of their presence. The lighthouse shone brightly in the distance, standing tall like a guardian watching over us as we embraced the memories of those lost yet cherished. Our stories continued to echo long after the launch, touching lives beyond our small town. Newspaper articles and social media posts ignited interest from neighboring communities. Our anthology became more than just a book. It was a beacon of hope, an invitation for others to share their own tales of love and loss, and a reminder that we are never alone in our journeys. Through it all, what began as a project to honor the past transformed into a living embodiment of community, a shared legacy that would last for generations. Each story told came with its own lesson, like waves gently lapping at the shore, reminding us that even the storms we face can lead to beautiful shores. United by grief and hope, we learned that together we could carry the light of those we have lost, guiding us forward toward the horizon, fueled by love and resilience. As the weeks turned into months following the successful launch of Stories of the Sea, our community became more tightly knit than I ever thought possible. The stories we shared continued to ripple through our lives, igniting connections and fostering understanding in ways that surprised us all. They transformed not only how we saw those we had lost, but also how we viewed each other and ourselves. Families began holding storytelling nights in their homes, eager to share their own narratives of loss and love. In small gatherings, filled with warm laughter and sudden tears, we found solace in our shared experiences. These intimate settings celebrated our humanity, with each story weaving its own delicate thread into the larger fabric of our community. The lives we honored through our tales became guides, inspiring us to seek light amidst the shadows. In one such gathering at the Smith family's home, I was struck by the power of vulnerability. As they recounted tales of their beloved grandmother, who had braved the stormy seas as a widow to support her family, I could see the pride and love etched in their faces. She always said the ocean taught her resilience, one of the granddaughters shared, her voice trembling. It reminds us that even the fiercest storms eventually pass. The room fell silent, each of us reflecting on our own storms, what had attempted to drown us and what had carried us through. Not long after, our anthology caught the attention of a local historian, Mr. Dunlop, who was deeply moved by our stories. He approached me with a proposal that shook me to my core. What if we turn your anthology into an annual event? A festival celebrating the sea, storytelling, and community resilience? The idea tingled with excitement, igniting hopes of bringing even more stories to light. His passion was infectious. I could envision an event that honored our history while also inviting others to contribute their own tales. With great enthusiasm, we began planning for the first Sea Stories Festival. It would be a celebration of our triumphs and collectively shared struggles, with storytelling at its heart. As we organized, the bonds within the community deepened. Neighbors stepped up to offer help, whether it was through facilitating workshops, setting up stages, or whipping up delicious coastal cuisine to enhance the atmosphere. When the day of the festival finally came, I stood awestruck as our town transformed into a vibrant tapestry of life. Stalls adorned with colorful banners lined the streets, each representing a different family or group eager to share their contributions. The air was perfumed with sea salt and the scent of fried fish mixed with sweet treats. Laughter echoed around us like music as children ran freely, seized by the joy of the day. Under a large tent, people gathered for storytelling sessions, eager to hear tales of survival, love, and loss. I marveled at the diversity of narratives, some sweet and humorous, others filled with heart-wrenching moments. Each voice painted a picture of courage against the backdrop of the ocean's vastness. As midday approached, I took to the stage to share the purpose of the festival. Today, we gather not only to celebrate the stories of those we've lost, but also to lift each other up, to show that we are never truly alone. Just like the sea, we ebb and flow, sometimes crashing against rocks, other times lapping gently at the shore. Each of our stories contributes to the entire landscape of who we are. The crowd erupted in applause. The energy was palpable. Together, we celebrated not only the lives we mourned, but also the strength we unearthed in our shared experiences. It was clear that our stories resonated deeply, weaving an unbreakable bond among us. Later, I wandered through the festival, soaking in the atmosphere. I stumbled upon a group of young artists painting ocean-themed murals, each canvas a reflection of their personal connection to the sea. They spoke passionately about how the stories inspired their creativity, a direct line connecting love, loss, and artistic expression. As dusk began to settle over the town, I gathered by the beach with a large group for the closing ceremony. The sun dipped beneath the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple. We lit lanterns and released them into the water, each one carrying a name or a memory, transforming our collective grief into a visual sea of light. As I watched the lanterns drift away, I realized that our festival had become something beautiful, a way of transforming loss into a celebration of life. The echoes of laughter, words of comfort, and the warmth of connection shimmered like the stars above. Together, we had created more than just an event. We had fostered a culture that embraced both remembrance and resilience. The festival not only celebrated our stories, but also paved a path forward, enriching our present and inspiring future generations to share their tales. United under the guiding light of love and resilience, we understood that the essence of community lies in the memories we cherish and the stories we continue to tell. As we faced the horizons ahead, I knew that we would carry these lights with us, illuminating our journeys for years to come.